Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going over my second trade with pltr. But before I do that, I want to go over how I find my reference zones or balance zones or whatever you want to call them. And it's a pretty simple concept, right? So my eyes instantly draw to this because I've been doing it. So I want you to focus on the blue arrows and just the black arrows as well. So what I do is I look for a low and a high. And when we hit that high, do we come back to that low? And when we can't break that low, do we go back to that high? And that's the balance area right there. So as you can see, we established a low from this gap up from where I initially took the trade in the last video. We establish that low, we go up, we establish that high where the first blue arrow is, then we come back down to that low, but we can't break it. That shows me support. Then we go back up to that high, and then we go back down that low, and then we break out. So that shows me a balance area. That's a small period of time where, buyers and sellers agree upon the trading range of this stock, right? So I draw that. I box it out, and then I double it. I clone two more boxes that size and stack them on top of each other. And like usually what you'll see, and you can see this is the daily chart, that it respects it, right? And usually you can see areas where supply turns into demand resistance turns into supply, and like it just responds to it. I don't know why it works, but it just does. Like it's pretty easy. It teaches me how to observe the order flow of that stock. Another thing it does is shows me that area where resistance turns into supply and how it works. Like I said, I don't know, but I know it just works on most stocks and things that you can trade. So, all right, now let's go into where I've added to my position for PLT. Okay, so from my initial position, the move went higher, and I don't usually adjust my stops from it, the initial stop area, until I add more to my position. And then when I add more, then I adjust my stop up. So look at the chart. At this area where I take my initial one, that moved higher, and then there's another P profile that tells me that the trap shorts are averaging up or they are initiating new short positions. I noticed that. And you see that where the short position is right now, and it moved higher. So you have a normal distribution day, another P profile, where you have more people trapped short, and then the next day you get a B profile. So usually you get a B profile after a sell-off. So if you see a B profile after a P profile, what comes next, right? So usually, like, this is accumulation at the balance level. They take it and sell it up higher, right? And we know that a P shape is just short covering. So you know that the P shapes are just going to start blowing the stops. They blew the stops this day and this day and this day. Anywhere where the short positions are, it comes down close to the short position, and as you can see, it just keeps bouncing away from it. Like every time the market comes close to the base of the P, you see how boom, back up, boom, back up, boom, back up. Because the shorts are all sitting there waiting to cover. And then market goes and it pops back up, right? So yes, since I started trading equities, which I'm still very new at, I realized that it doesn't flow like the ES. So I look for liquidations, right? And the structure will tell you where the buyers and sellers should be. The order flow will have to confirm the structure, though. So if the order flow confirms the structure and inventory is pointing in the right direction, you have a trade. Now, I can tell off a PLTR when it's going to puke and when it's not because of the nature of the stock. Like, you can see the patterns here now, right? So where the B profile is, and then the next day it had a normal distribution, which is where the N is, I noticed it wasn't operating right, and it was building an overhanging supply, which you can see there. So I knew that it was almost time for them to clean the float because it seems like PLTR is trying to somebody is trying to control this inventory, right? And I noticed that it wasn't trading in conjunction with how it usually trades. So instead of getting into a position like I normally would after the B profile on the normal distribution day, like I decided against it. Which I'm glad I did because the next day was a P profile, but then the next day was a normal distribution day. So I said, this is in a range and it's not trading normal for this stock, right? And I know that that triggered the thought process that there's a large momentum trader who is taking part of this stock, right? And that they left their footprint right here. They don't have all the inventory. So just like I thought, they were just waiting for the opportunity to clean the float, which means after you take a stock up so high, buyers stop coming in. But in this case, they try to accumulate above my level there, but it couldn't break any higher and reach my next level. So I just sat on my hands, which was really hard because I really wanted to add to this position out of the excitement from the initial position. And sure as crap, it cleans the float right here where I have it marked off, right? So it does a B-shaped profile. It's a sloppy B-shaped profile, but it's still one nonetheless. And then the next day is followed by P profile. So I get in. I had those. I had four more shares to it, and I set my stop because at this time I was pretty uncertain on where the short position was because I didn't have enough, market generated information. And I just in my mind I thought like somebody's trying to get control over all the inventory. And I set my stop like right below, right where that white level is. Um, and that's that. I hope this helps explain this second part of my trade. Later.